If you've been feeling a strange blend lately of excitement and this feeling as though you're being broken open to this grander vision of your life than you've ever tapped into before, followed by moments where you feel the opposite end of that, where you notice waves of doubt or anxiety surfacing within you, uncertainty for how you're going to move into this vision, or even wondering whether you're imagining it, then this reading is for you, because this is all part of a collective shift that we are experiencing, and you are not alone in whatever you are feeling here. There is actually a global transformation taking place right now behind the scenes. And because you are someone who is most likely very empathic, you tend to experience these shifts first and more intensely than the rest of the collective. So I have created this channel as a space where you can come to feel seen and supported along your journey, especially if you are one of the ones who is more open and sensitive when it comes to energy. And so in today's reading video, we are going to be going deep into different dynamics that you could be experiencing right now. And I refer to these as threads of energy. So we're going to go all the way from the broad collective level down to the micro individual level and channel through what you could be experiencing with your emotions, your energy, your life, your relationships, and these transitions that are happening right now in your life. But first, let me introduce myself to those of you who are new. My name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. I do these collective readings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you would like to tune in on those times and days, they are also live premiered, and there is such a beautiful high vibrational energy in those live chats. So I definitely invite you to tune in if you're feeling guided to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and get started by shuffling the energy oracle cards. Of course, at the end of the day, it's really your intuition that is your highest guide in life. So I always recommend listening to your intuition above all else. And when it comes to these readings, only taking the messages that do connect for you in a personal and intuitive way, and leaving the rest here, because I do tend to channel into many different threads of energy. Now, with that being said, if you would like to tune your energy into this reading in a stronger way, then I recommend liking the video and also subscribing to the channel. I noticed that when you subscribe to the channel, this often helps me to pick up more clearly on your energy, both in this video and over the course of time as well. So let me go ahead and see what we can talk about first with this energy. Okay, so I'm hearing you've built yourself to this place with door to personal healing and happiness in the upright position. There is this sense that you have been building towards something for a while, and that all of this building has been towards an outcome or a vision or a version of yourself or your life that you've actually been requesting from the universe and deeply desiring. However, there is this sense now that although you knew what you were doing the entire time, meaning you built yourself here one brick at a time, one moment of healing at a time, there is this sense that you're now at this moment of leap, and the universe is not letting you forfeit your own harvest. What that means is it's now time to claim what is yours, to claim the abundance, the joy, the success, the confidence, the love, to really step into that energy completely. And there is this sense that for a while that was inaccessible to you. Again, you had to build yourself here one piece at a time. But now that you're here and you're ready and the doors are opening, the universe isn't letting you forfeit what you've internally worked and built so long for. And so if you're feeling some trepidation, it may be because you're feeling like you're out on a limb, but then almost like that limb is sort of cracking beneath you. But that's because you've gone through the metamorphosis. You have wings now. You can fly. So you're being, in a sense, pushed off the edge to use your own wings. But there is this fear in that. There is this sense of transitioning, just like the butterfly, from moving in a more linear fashion to literally quantum leaping and soaring. And so that's the feeling that you get when you feel that exhilaration and excitement, and you can just so tangibly sense and see into this greater vision for yourself in your life. That is you, in a sense, feeling your own wings. But on the other side of that, when you feel the trepidation, that is you sensing that the ground is shifting beneath you, that the scaffolding that used to hold you up is now being removed, because I'm hearing the project is completed. Maybe you've completed some kind of literal project, but I feel that for many of you, the project is you. It's one iteration of you. It's a cycle of your own expansion. I just keep hearing the words, you're ready now. Trust yourself. Because there's this sense that you knew you would get here all along. You always knew you'd get to a place where it would be time to leap, where the scaffolding would be removed, where it would be harvest season. But now that that moment is here, the fear of what you're leaving behind could surface from time to time. So the solution is, of course, naturally, to keep your vision focused on where you're going and not where you've been, to understand that we are working in an entirely new energy system where those old ways of doing things will no longer work in the same way. Just like the butterfly can't crawl like a caterpillar once it has wings, you can't use your outdated mechanisms to grow in a phase where you are meant to be leaping and soaring and quantum shifting. So let's dive deeper into these personal shifts that have taken place within you. What personal shifts have been happening for you? Okay, well, right away, a beautiful card coming out here, caring connections. The numbers 1 and 4 could be significant for you, but I'm also hearing something about that number 144,000, which often correlates with this concept of a tipping point of collective consciousness. So a lot of people correlate the number 144,000 with the idea of there being a certain number of people who are like chosen or selected for something spiritually. But how I understand this number is a tipping point of consciousness. So it's almost as though, well, it is as though it's literally been studied that a certain number of people on the planet can tip the consciousness of the entire collective. So if a certain number of people is emanating a certain frequency or unlocking a certain belief within themselves, like cracking the code of something energetically, it's a tipping point for the collective. And so it's commonly believed that 144,000 is approximately the tipping point for the Earth human collective. Now, of course, that may or may not be an exact number. It's sort of like a rough estimate and something people have kind of used to represent this. So when people say that it represents the quote unquote chosen ones, what they mean is there are a certain number of souls that are literally assigned to the task of feeling and processing energy shifts first to help the collective more easily reach that tipping point. So getting back to what we said at the beginning of this video, you are one who does experience those shifts first, but this is why. It's because you are part of this 144,000, meaning nothing like weird or mystical. It's just that you chose as a soul to incarnate here to be one of the ones who would experience these shifts first, so that you could then lead the way for the collective, which I guess, of course, is maybe weird to some people who are not necessarily conceptualizing consciousness or the earth in this way. But I know that to you, listening to this reading this far, it will make sense. And I guess it's definitely mystical in the sense that you are, yes, this like mystical, magical being, but it's also understandable from a level of frequency when you're at the consciousness that you are at. So what I'm getting is that you're part of this tipping point of consciousness where you're meant to help to tip the collective into new ways of being, new ways of thinking. You crack the code of the energy first, and then the collective is more easily able to follow. And so part of that is playing into what's happening now as well, because if you're feeling these shifts really intensely, you are feeling first, almost like test piloting what the collective is going to be feeling over the course of the coming months and years. And of course, it's hitting you harder energetically because it's never been dealt with before. This energy is very dense because it's new, but just like clay, you are working with it, you are molding it into place. And while it may seem very heavy to be one of the first ones to work with this kind of energy, it's also a privilege in the sense that you are very powerful within all of this. What that means is you are able to create something truly magnificent from this energy clay that may feel very dense and heavy, but it's like, I'm hearing you're an artist with energy, which you may be a literal artist as well, but you have this gift of like molding and aligning visions and energy and moving energy, even very dense energy blocks. And I do feel that your expertise is really being called forth from you right now, meaning you may be thinking, whoa, I'm good at this, but this still feels challenging, almost like an athlete playing a really skilled opponent, but then sharpening his own skills through that process. I feel like that is you right now. Like you are coming up against a task that feels both heavy, but also exhilarating and very new. And so if that sounds like you, know that again, you are not alone in this. You are supported. You are exactly on the right track. And it is my intention that through the content and materials I create here on this channel, I can support you through those huge shifts happening within you right now. Personally, I have been working with the subliminals that I have created through my app, Sound and Soulful. And I wanted to mention this because just last night, I meditated with my subliminals playlist overnight, and subliminals are working with the subconscious mind, so the deeper levels of your energy field. And it just struck me how enormous of a difference I experience when I awaken in the morning, when I listen to my subliminals playlist overnight versus when I forget to put it on or when I'm not listening overnight. I always listen in the morning, but there's something about that overnight reprogramming that really helps me personally as I am also feeling and sensing these shifts and this heavier energy coming through. And I thought of mentioning this because one of you left a comment saying that these subliminals had really helped you to shift a lot of heavy energy right now as well. And since so many of us are dealing with that heaviness, I really wanted to offer this as a tool and a support to you in case it's something that you're interested in exploring and trying out for yourself. So I will leave a link to learn more about my app underneath this video in the description box if that is something that you're interested in. So I'm going to be shuffling the cards here. And with the Caring Connections card, I saw 1331. This can represent energy mirroring. So there may be someone who is mirroring you right now, reflecting you. I'm hearing reflecting back to you the love that you've given to yourself. I saw a mouse. Maybe that's relevant for someone. There's someone here who seems to be reflecting your own home core frequency back to you, but it's because you've come into that frequency internally. And this is actually leading me to want to talk about something that came up in my meditation and journaling session today. So when I was meditating this morning, a message came through. I heard someone saying, you look happier. Like they were addressing you and saying, wow, you look so happy, or you look happier. Even just like looking at a photo of you. And I also picked up people saying that you have a glow about you. And I'm getting that right now you have a lot of people saying these things about you, even if they're not saying them to your face. It's something that they're thinking when they look at you, especially people that haven't seen you in a while or interacted with you in a while. They are palpably like noticing and sensing this glow about you, which really is an energy thing. This glow is the way that you've shifted your own energy within yourself over the course of time. And my guides were pointing out that that gradual shift within you has really been you shifting your core baseline state, or I guess more accurately, because you have that core essence, that core soul, that core frequency within you. Most people just bury it with layers of programming, and they pick up a lot of dense energy from the world or society or people around them that kind of block that core frequency. So I guess what we could say otherwise is you've peeled back those layers and shifted more closely to that core frequency within yourself. Now, the thing that I was getting is I was actually picking up on someone who was feeling some self-doubt within all of that. So it's like, while you've done all of this work gradually over the course of time to like peel back those layers and get to this core of you in a way that even other people are noticing and talking about, saying you look happier, saying you have this glow about you. The thing that I was getting about this specific person is they were actually feeling doubt about themselves. Like, am I backsliding? Have I really grown or healed as much as I thought I did? And so my guides were really outlining for me the difference between your core energy and echoes that can come up for you. So your core energy being you gradually peeling back the layers and connecting more with that core of yourself, that emanating a kind of like deeper energetic frequency. And then it's almost like, yeah, here and there, you might absorb or pick up something on the surface, but it can be easily moved or cleared out because it's not really connected with the core energy that you are emanating. Let me see if I can explain this in even a clearer way. It's sort of like when you deep clean a house and completely declutter all of the rooms within that house. It's like if you think of all of us as individual homes internally and energetically. I've used this metaphor before, but I feel like it's such a powerful visualization because you can literally see it in people's eyes. But most people are walking around a shell of themselves. Like their home is filled with rooms that have been locked shut, that are filled with clutter, representing parts of themselves that they had to bury away for survival out of necessity. And they've never had the time or the wherewithal or the strength at this moment to revisit within themselves. But you are one of the rare few who has swung open those doors within you. I'm getting that I'm picking up on someone who is very interested in deep self-reflection, in knowing yourself on such a deep level. You've always been someone to think really deeply about yourself and spirituality and the world, even when other people around you were living more on the surface, even when you felt really quote unquote weird or labeled that way by others for being someone who thinks and contemplates on such a deep level. But anyway, over the course of time, you've been decluttering, in a sense, unpacking these rooms metaphorically within yourself. And that's been really heavy, but also invisible work. It's been something that people haven't been able to see internally. They haven't known the hours that you've spent crying or like just feeling things so deeply or letting yourself be burnt out, letting yourself sleep so your subconscious can do some of that energy clearing, letting yourself create with that emotion or with that energy, doing shadow work, journaling, meditating, whatever it's been for you, you've been unpacking those layers, those rooms within you. So in this metaphor, you finally reach this sort of 0 point, and I feel it happened relatively recently where you really opened up all of those rooms, decluttered your whole energetic house, and got to this core of who you are. So you're sort of like in a maintenance mode, if you will. And that's the difference that I'm describing here, where once you have your house clean like that, like you've done this deep clean of your energy, it's shifted your entire essence, like the whole way that you emanate. And that is what people are noticing. That is why they're noticing this glow and this happiness about you, because that's what you've gradually worked yourself towards on such a deep core level. So then in this metaphor, continuing on, that doubt that you feel like, wait, I suddenly feel negative. Am I backsliding? It's sort of like if you have a really clean home and then there's some clutter, or you have guests for a few days and things feel a little cluttered. That clutter is going to feel like it's more messy to you because you're so accustomed to things being so clean and so organized. So you're so accustomed to your energy feeling so clear and clean and high vibrational and connected to your soul, your core energy, that even the slightest bit of clutter is actually going to feel amplified to you, even though it's not really that way on the surface. And it doesn't really show that way in your external world or when it comes to the things that you are manifesting. It's almost like your mind thinks that that bit of clutter or things you've picked up maybe in a day or a week are affecting you more than they actually are. These are really just, it's almost like things that you may naturally absorb just over the course of being human that you then easily are able to process and to clean up again, to get back to that core energetic state that's very open and very high vibrational. And you know how to do this energy work. You have methods or techniques that work for you. You know what works for you, whatever that is. And so what I'm getting is to trust yourself, to trust that you got yourself to this point. You've reached this like 0 point that, by the way, almost no one on the planet ever reaches. It's so rare for you to have the wherewithal and the desire to know yourself and the desire to improve yourself to be to this point where you've literally opened up all of these doors within you that most people keep locked, not just in one lifetime, but many, many lifetimes. That's the other thing as well. I feel like we have to say that part of what you've been clearing out here hasn't even been originating just with you in this current physical iteration in this one lifetime. You've been clearing things for your ancestors, for your family's line, even for the collective. So take a moment to just appreciate that about yourself and to celebrate yourself for getting to this point, because you're clear, you're open, you're connected to yourself, and you're ready for what's coming next. And that is exactly why you're out here on this limb. That's why the universe is pushing you into this next growth phase. What I wrote down in connection with this is that, if I can find it here, when you are ready for the moment you've been building for, the universe gives you a push. The universe won't let you forfeit what you've asked for. That's that abundance season, that harvest that we were talking about. I also wrote down the push can be internal or external. So you may be feeling this internal building pressure, like a restlessness of feeling that there's something that you need to be doing or creating, or it's almost like something wants to be moved through you, created through you. But you also could be feeling external pressure. Like you literally could be feeling like in some ways, certain aspects of your life do feel like they are backsliding or falling apart. But anything that is doing that right now is connected to the old frequency. And what I wrote down about that old frequency is that let me see if I can find it in my notes. Okay. The disorientation is the emotional residue of your old frequency trying to grasp a reality it no longer belongs in. So you've already shifted into the new reality. And anytime you feel like things are falling apart, it's a sign those things are connected to an old frequency that actually can no longer exist in your new reality, because you're ready for something better. You're ready for something greater. So in connection with all of this, there has also been this sense of, and this is going to get really quantum. I know these readings, specifically the collective ones, seem to reach many of you who really enjoy those deeper style quantum readings. So let me know in the comments if anything here has been connecting with your personal experience. I really love to hear from you. But what I'm getting is something we need to unpack here around how you are actually experiencing what I called ascension through the spiral, revisiting an old frequency with a new level of embodiment. So there's this sense of everything over the course of the last several months or years, or however long this previous phase has been for you. There's a sense that it's been a preparation, but almost like we got a little bit familiar with the preparation phase, and a part of our conscious mind almost like latched onto it and thought we'd be in the preparation phase forever. And we derived some sense of comfort from the rhythm of that phase, the way that things were working, the way that things were operating, the way we were growing within that phase. But deep down, we knew all along, we knew from the beginning it was only meant to be a preparation. And if you sense deeper into your soul, I know that there is that knowing that everything you went through up until now has really just been the preparation, building you to this moment of leap, that it was never meant to be the forever phase, But now that we are at that moment of leap and the preparation has completed, there is that trepidation that could be surfacing because we're feeling that push energy. We're feeling like it's time to use our wings. Now, what I've been getting in connection with this as well, and this is where it gets really quantum, is that you've been activated. I'm hearing specifically for many of you, it's your voice that's been activated, whether it's like your literal speaking voice, or maybe you are a singer or a public speaker or something of that nature, a writer even, using your voice through written word. But I'm getting that on a deeper level, it's your truth that has been activated. Like you've become very locked in to the frequency of truth, your own truth, to the point where you can actually really sense when you are encountering dissonant energy in others, when you're encountering inauthenticity, when you are encountering someone who isn't connected to their own truth, or something that doesn't feel right, that doesn't ring with that energy of truth. You are so tuned to that inner voice, to that inner truth, that you're very adept at noticing when something else is not connected to truth, if that makes sense. You're like a human lie detector in a way. And I'm hearing if you don't consciously recognize it, your body will. So your body feels the intuitive knowing that even sometimes you don't consciously think, but you can like sense it physically. So one message coming through here is to really allow yourself to trust that, to trust those intuitive signals in the way that you're able to sense truth from others in systems, in situations, when it comes to feeling out. I spoke on this almost like echolocation, where you send out a signal and you receive a feedback. And in this instance, it's like when you sense into, for example, even a person, a relationship, an idea, something you want to do, a place you want to go, you can actually send your energy into it. And just like bats use echolocation, you can receive back a feedback signal that you can easily interpret because you are so tuned to that energy of truth. So you can see, does this resonate with my core frequency of truth, or is it dissonant for me? And so that is just a little bit of a side message here. But what I was actually trying to get to is, you've been activated, right? Your voice has been activated. Your truth has been activated. You've become very tuned to that core of yourself. I'm also hearing with the solar plexus chakra card that you've built yourself to this state of confidence. Yes, of course, you may have moments where you waver a little bit, just like sometimes a very clean home develops a little bit of clutter here and there. There may be moments where you waver, where you feel a little bit of doubt, but you know that your core energy has really shifted into a much more confident place. That's been a major part of the preparation phase. And that's part of what even people are commenting on or noticing. You may literally have people tell you that you seem so much more confident or relaxed, but even being relaxed is coming from you relaxing into that confidence that you have in yourself, in your path, in the universe, the divine, whatever divine forces you personally connect with. Also in your literal skills. I feel that for some of you, this hasn't just been a spiritual preparation. It's been a training ground for certain skills as well. So you may have certain gifts, talents, abilities, interests, hobbies that you've been developing over the course of the last several months or years. And I get this feeling that you're at that threshold moment of graduation where you've learned what you need to learn here. You've prepared how you need to prepare. And now it's almost like time for you to be putting those skills into action, into inspired action, like flowing from your heart, staying connected to your truth. And it's almost like you're going from accumulating something to transmitting something in a more powerful way, if that makes sense. Like you're going from developing something to pushing out. And so this is creating what I wrote down as the natural expansion tension between two identities, your old identity that was training and your new identity that is ready. So anything that was connected with the quote unquote training or preparation frequency is going to feel like it's falling away while you're being pushed into what now feels like the operating frequency, the moving frequency, the transmitting frequency, so to speak. So getting back to what I've been trying to get to here as far as you revisiting something, because there's this feeling that, okay, you know what this kind of reminds me of? It reminds me of, and I'm going to see if I can get a good example of this. Okay, so let's say that you are a pianist, let's say, and you are playing piano, and this is your passion. This is your dream. This is your love, your first love. You've loved it since you were a child. It's a core soul gift for you. It's something that in a way is like a spiritual ability that you have that feels so natural to you. It's this natural expression and extension of your soul. But let's say that for a while you took a job playing piano in, let's say, like a mall or something, some kind of venue, and you told yourself at the start that this was just for you to build confidence and to create a baseline of stability in your life and to develop your skills and to prepare and to become a more intuitive and adept performer. And so you took this gig and you started doing that for like months or years. Let's say years, because I feel like for many of you, this phase has been years. In this metaphor, let's say that you do build those skills, you have this like steady income from what you're doing, and you're able to use your passion, but it was never really what you wanted to be doing your entire life, right? Like that wasn't the original intention, but you are getting kind of comfortable in sort of like that stabilization phase, the preparation phase. And then let's say that you start putting out your own piano videos on YouTube or something, and they start getting traction and you start getting views and people are beginning to flock to your music, and you're starting to see this growth, and it's exciting and it's new and it's exhilarating and it feels so connected to your core purpose. But you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to keep doing this, but I'm going to stay in my preparation phase. I'm going to keep playing piano at the mall because that really provides me with a sense of stability, and I want that stability, but I also want to be leaning into this growth phase, which works for a while, right? And you're able to do that for a while, but then the point we're getting to now in our soul's evolution is the equivalent in this metaphor of you growing to a point where you feel like, okay, I kind of am thinking of quitting my job and going all in for this. And I feel like I'm at the point where I could do this, but it's still really scary. It's like the equivalent of you suddenly like having lost that job at the mall, or suddenly the circumstances there become so chaotic that it's almost like that timeline is literally spitting you out of it. It's like ejecting you out of it. And yet you're feeling like, wait, but if I really made it creating my own music and doing this thing that I'm doing, and it feels like it's starting to work, I feel like this could work. But then you drop back into the fear, like, but how can I know it's going to work? And there's that fear of instability and that desire to stay in the familiar, even as the familiar is falling away, and maybe even wondering, why can't I just stay in this stability? Why isn't this working anymore? But it's cosmic. Of course, this is just a metaphor, and you can apply this however it may fit or not in your own life. But there's this feeling that like we've been living with one foot in two worlds for a while, and now we're getting to a point where like the universe is saying, this is what you've wanted the entire time, and you're ready for it now. So I'm going to push you to take a leap. And so you might be feeling that in your relationships, emotionally, energetically, your work, your life. But I want to close this reading. There is going to be an extended, so we're going to go deeper into all of these messages. And if this has been connecting and you're feeling guided to the extended, I'll leave a link to that in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. I do channel extended readings exclusively for members, either on Patreon or YouTube. The readings are identical, so you can join from either place, but these are exclusive to members, channeled every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, along with these reading videos. So again, the link to that is below. But I want to close this video by saying something that I feel is so important for you to hear, which is, if you are at this moment of leap, and you feel like on the one hand, everything connected to your old identity is falling apart, but there's also this broader vision coming into focus. It sounds so simple, but trust yourself. Trust where your evolution has brought you to. Clearly, you've done the work. Clearly, you've evolved to the point where you are ready for whatever is coming next. It's almost like someone getting cold feet right before the most amazing moment of their life. Almost like, I don't know, like someone going out on stage to perform for the first time, or someone starting a new job, or someone even like getting married or something. It's like the feeling of suddenly getting this drop and thinking, whoa, am I ready for this? I'm getting so many chills right now. Am I ready for this? Of course you are. You've brought yourself here. This is everything you've ever wanted. You could not be more ready. And in fact, you are so ready that the universe isn't letting you stay in that familiar preparation phase anymore. So leap and trust yourself and keep moving forward and know that you are capable. And that's how I wanted to close this video. If this has been connecting, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I post new videos that could shed some light on your path or help you to confirm something that you're experiencing or going through. And of course, feel free to leave me a comment if there's anything you'd like to share that resonated from this reading. And I will be continuing now to the extended version of the reading, which is linked in the pinned comment and description box below. Otherwise, I am sending you so much love. Trust yourself, take care, and I will connect with you here again in the next reading.